Hey, yo, Walamu, what the business is, kid?
Peace, God. What's poppin'?
I can't call it God, man. You know what I'm saying? Just another classic episode we got. You know what I'm saying? Some great content.
All right, so who we working with today?
We got Steve Sola, man. You know what I'm saying? Extraordinary producer, engineer, you know what I'm saying? Songwriter, all the above, man. He came through and blessed us with some serious content.
This right here is another legendary person from behind the scenes that, like, we all know who he is, but we don't really know who he is. And that's, like, the coolest thing about what you're doing, man, is because it's introducing, like, all of the hip-hop heads who lived that era and loved the music, but didn't really know who the behind-the-scenes players were. Right. And see this cat right here, Steve Sola. You know his work from Mary J. Blige. You know his work from Nas. You know his work from Busta Rhymes, 50 Cent, H.N.I.C, Music Soul Child, Mobb Deep especially. You know what I'm saying? The QB Finest Project. You know what I'm saying? The list could go on and on. Like, definitely that murder music. So let's get into this notable quotable for this week, man. Being that this cat worked with Mobb Deep exclusively, we just gonna go into a Prodigy verse, man. R.I.P. Prodigy.
R.I.P. Prodigy, man.
Hey, yo, Queens, get the money. Long time, no cash. I'm caught up in the hustle where the guns go blast. The fool retaliated, so I had to think fast. Pulled out my heat first, he pulled out his heat last. Now who the fuck you think is living to this day? I'm trying to tell these young niggas crime don't pay. They looked at me and said, Queens niggas don't play. Do your thing, I'll do mine, kids, stay out of my way. It's type hard trying to survive in New York State. Can't stop till I'm eating off that platinum plate. Po-pos come around and try to relocate me. Lock me up forever, but you can't deflate me, cause having cash is highly addictive, especially when you're used to having money to live with.
No doubt, you know what I'm saying? That's the notable quotable. You know what I'm saying? Prodigy.
That's like one of the verses that like made you fall in love with Prodigy, man. Like you already heard the shook and shit, but when he dropped this one right here, son, it was like that's when you knew Prodigy was one of them cats in that category.
The next level.
And the big niggas like that, son.
No doubt, man. So like I said, man, we just pushing culture forward, man. That's all. And anybody that's trying to push culture forward, you know what I'm saying? They got a spot on this platform, man. So reach out, man. You know what I'm saying? Hit us up, you know what I'm saying? At Lucid Music Group, you know what I'm saying? At gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? Lucid Music Group. That's with a Z and a K. At gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? Shout them out your contact
me at drmanagement 919 at gmail.com. That's drmanagement 919 at gmail.com. Holla at your boy Walamu the Guam, man.
No doubt. We just gonna go ahead and get into this episode, man. Push culture forward. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention?
Lucid Network presents a Different Perspective podcast. You're now tuned in.
Different, so don't compare me to another. I'm different, so don't compare me to another. Cause they can't hang. Word to the mother.
The legendary Steve Sola in the building, you know what I'm saying? You know him as the Mix King, you know what I'm saying? Super producer, super duper engineer, you know what I'm saying? Steve, what's going on with you?
Hey, what's up? I'm so glad to be here, Steve Sola. Like Shotgun said, you know, aka the Mix King. Thank you for inviting me. You know, I'm here for the people.
No doubt. So, you know, as I said before, I want to go back to the beginning. I want to go back to your early childhood in Rome, man, in Italy. And so we can, what I'm trying to do is build a foundation up to how the music that you create and how the music that the way you put that mix on that music, where that influence comes from. So let's go back to your early days in Rome.
That's way back. Yeah, that's way back. Rome. Yeah, that's my city, man. That's where I was born. I mean, it's definitely close to me. Obviously, it's my roots, man. And I came to the States. I came to New York. You know, obviously I've been in New York longer, so. But I came about 12. You know, I was 12 But the earliest musical influences come, I guess, from my mom. She used to listen to music all day, all night.
Right.
And it's kind of classical tinged, but she didn't listen to classical music. But I guess, you know, being in Italy and being in Europe, there's a lot of that anyway on the radio and stuff like that. So, you know, when I make music, sometimes I hear some of those influences, like the violins and the strings and the heavy orchestra,
right.
You know, from soft to loud. So, yeah, so it comes from that era, and obviously mixed with New York when I came back. You know, that's a whole nother chapter.
Right. So you leave, you grow up. You know, you're born in Rome. You grow up basically in New York City, and you're into rock music in the beginning. You're playing in rock bands. You're playing the guitar, and you're pursuing that career, right?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to. My heroes, top two heroes is, you know, Jimi Hendrix, of course.
Right.
I got like 33 Jimi Hendrix albums, and Ritchie Blackmore from Deep Purple. And, you know, I wanted, as a guitar player, I wanted to sound like that song, Frankenstein. Wow! Oh shit! I want to play that, and then I find out that was a synthesizer. I say shit.
Yeah, you try to master
I'm gonna right. So I'm gonna have to match that shit up on the guitar.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, being in rock bands really gave me a really good foundation of what. Like when I mix a sample, when I use a sample, I know what a band should sound like, or a snare, or, you know, bass or guitar, because I've been in bands, you know. So we played out and what have you on the radio. Nothing super big, but we've done some things, you know, tri-state, you know, a few thousand people, you know, performances and on radio and you know, clubs. The clubs were playing our songs, you know, stuff like that.
What was the name of one of the bands, or this band that you're speaking of now?
The one that was getting played on the radio and in the clubs was a group called Kyoto.
All right.
And it was a mixture of, believe it or not, dance music and like rock and roll, heavy, you know, guitar playing.
Right.
If you obviously not as good as, like, you know, Beat It by Michael Jackson, but if you envision like that dance and, you know, rock guitar,
right?
You know, yeah, that's what we wanted to do. Even more than that, right?
So give me a timeline of reference. What are we talking about with that? We talking about mid '80s, early '80s?
Yeah, late '80s, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, I know you're doing that, and then you start moving into engineering. People are liking your mixes. You know what I'm saying? And so, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even know it was called mixing because I was kind of doing it in my apartment.
Right.
And people were like, "Wow, that sounds really good. Where'd you record it? What studio?" I said, "My place." And they were like, "Oh, let me come and record at your place." So I was doing demos and B-sides of records, but the main records at that time were done by other engineers, and you know, we went into good studios. Shout out to like my man Steve Remote, recording some of that Kyoto stuff, and you know, Dennis Scatazione. You know, but you know, I wasn't even an engineer. And then after that, when people were saying, "Oh, good," I said, "Well, maybe I should go back to school," for two reasons.
Right.
One, my band members were either doing drugs, you know, robbing McDonald's, and there's no money on McDonald's anyway. I don't know why they were doing that. I think they were probably doing drugs and McDonald's. And, you know, the other guy was fucking every girl that he could find.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? You know, my future is in the hands of 4 other people. And I was the leader. I was paying for a lot of studio time, rehearsal, what have you.
Right.
There was like 5 of us, and it was just too much. I said, you know what? If I go back to engineering or really learn how to engineer, maybe I'll be in direct control of my future.
Right.
And that's when I went back to college for audio engineering, audio technology, and music and stuff like that.
Got you. So you did that. So now let's fast forward to, what was the first studio? Was it Chung King? Did you work at Chung King? You worked at Chung King, right?
Oh yeah, we were at Chung King so much. I mean, we took over when we were doing the Infamy album with Mobb Deep. We took the whole floor. We had I believe 3-4 rooms. I had 2 other engineers work for me for Plaintruth Entertainment, and we took over the whole floor. But that was around 2. The first studio that I actually I was interning was.
Yeah, I think I went too far. That's what I'm trying to find out. When you started interning,
Yeah. Well, I started interning a little short stint at Music Palace, and then it was only 2 rooms out here in Long Island. And I said, wow, I'm never gonna move up. You know, it's just a smaller studio. I mean, it was a big room and, great studio.
Yeah, but it's
we did, it's just the amount of rooms that there were, but the spot was huge. Like the A room was good. Yeah. We recorded, Nas, QB Finest there with, Ushiwali and all that. That was recorded there. But the first studio that I called my home was, Soundtrack in New York City.
Right.
And it has 9 rooms. So I said to myself, well, you need 9 interns, 9 assistants, and 9 engineers. I'm like, there's got to be room where I can move up. So within like 6 months, I was already assisting, and within a year, I was already engineering Jodeci. Like my first big act was Jodeci. Yeah.
Right. And which album was that? Diary of a Madman?
No, after that, the show.
The show, okay.
Yeah, the after party in the hotel. Yeah, okay. And like really, it was just like me and Devante a lot of time for, 24 hours at a time. Me and Devante, like he's a workaholic.
Right.
I think he's a part genius, man. He's 50% genius, 50% man.
Right. So let me ask you this too. At that time, okay, you had Soundtrack. What other engineers are there at that time? Who are your colleagues there? That like anybody that known?
Yeah, definitely one that definitely known is Ken Lewis.
Okay. All right.
Shout out to Ken. Yeah, he's been doing a lot of stuff with everybody, Kanye and stuff like that.
I'm just, I guess, again, I'm just trying to see, you cut from a different cloth, man. You know that. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just trying to get to get the idea of the influences around you early on and all that, because, like I said, before, I've been familiar with you for many years, but even before I got familiar with you, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, I didn't know. And I'm gonna keep it 100, man. I thought you was black. You know what I'm saying? Cause I was like, yo, the shit you come with is so fucking raw. You know what I'm saying? And again, I've been doing a lot of, interviews with engineers, man, because I love the music, and I love the way y'all shape the sound. And I just got finished with Skef Anselm, and I was explaining that to him too, how he had a certain sound that shaped a certain era. And I didn't want to go too far ahead, but cause I'm all over the place with you, but getting to, that Infamy album, all the Mobb Deep stuff, you know what I'm saying? There's a certain thing that you do in that mix that is just crazy. I really don't even know how to explain it. You know what I'm saying? But it's perfect. I think that you and them was a perfect marriage. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's just the sound that you put on it that is, I don't know. It makes it timeless. You know what I'm saying? Of course, they got to do what they got to do. You know what I'm saying? But when you put that finishing touch, when you bring what you bring to the game, it makes it timeless. And somehow you've always been able to manage, even with the newer stuff, you get that analog feel out of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You mesh that analog and that new technology shit kind of perfectly. You know what I'm saying? Same thing on that H.N.I.C. And I realized a lot of that stuff was still going to tape. You know what I'm saying? But it's still like your sound is just real crazy, man. And I really want to thank you for that shit, because you know what I'm saying? You gave us some bangers. You know what I'm saying? You definitely gave us some bangers. And I want to come back to the Mobb Deep, but you did so much. Your list is long. People, let me explain something to you. This man's list is long. You talking about Jodeci, 50 Cent and Olivia, Jadakiss, Lil' Kim, Lil Wayne, Neo McKnight, Gwen McCrae. That's some whole other shit right there. You know what I'm saying? Busta Rhymes, Jules Santana, Nas, you know what I'm saying? Lloyd Banks, Wu-Tang, Young Jeezy. I mean, I could keep going on. Mary J, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, the shit is crazy, you know, that you've been a part of, and I think that you are one of the underrated dudes on production as well as, you know what I'm saying, on the mixing. I mean, the niggas that know, but I think the world need to know, and that's why, you know, I'm here talking to you. You know what I'm saying? And there's another thing I want to say. I know you should be talking and I'm talking, but I got to tell you this. That
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Man.
On that murder music, there's a track. Oh shit. Help me out. Cause now, why'd you have to raise me this way? Told me how to survive. Streets raised me. And listen, man, I know about what happened went down with that. I know that Hav ain't like that joint for whatever reason. I know it was a little struggle back and forth. And I know there was a thing with the vocals and you put some input, and I want you to talk about that. But that shit, I'm so glad that you saved that song and got it on the album, because that shit right there is the soundtrack to life, yo. That shit is hot. And that's what I'm saying about your sound, is that like with I forget her name, the chick that sings, because she's on a couple of joints. And with her, I'm gonna just talk, you know, real. We gonna keep it 100. She's not just a crazy vocalist. She's a chick from the hood that could hold a note. You know what I'm saying? And that shines through. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta, this is the thing. It's a lot of people out there like that. There's just a chick or a dude from the hood that can hold a note. But it took you to kind of, the way you mix it and the way I heard on that song how you kind of coached on those notes, that was able to make that pass and make the difference between a unprofessional and a professional. You see what I'm saying? Record. And that's why you got a lot of cats, even with rappers. You got a lot of rappers. Every nigga could rap, they could rhyme, but everybody can't make records. You see what I'm saying? And you got some of your best lyricists out there, but they can't make records. But when you put them with the right person, they can make a record now. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like you bring a lot of that to the table. So I went on my rant, and now I'm gonna back up and let you talk.
Oh, that's wonderful. No, I love to hear you, because that's, you know, it's from the outside and it's love, and I really appreciate that. The blood, sweat, and tears that we put in is, you know, being felt. You know, it's like, and you know, shout out the singer is Chinky from you know, Chinky from Queensbridge. And you QB, man, you said it. I mean, I'm not from QB, but definitely QB came to the studio, man. I know I work with almost everybody from QB.
That's right.
Yeah, we could mention that later, but to keep talking about that track, I really kind of have to thank myself, and, you know, just still being humble, but that track might not be here if it wasn't for me.
That's what I'm saying.
And I say that because, you know, H.N.I.C was about to shut off the MPC because he was like, no, it's not right. Yeah. So I said, no, I'll fix it. You know, I produced myself. So I was like, I'll fix a couple of the wrong notes. And I got on the MPC and, you know, and fixed some of the kicks, fixed some of the piano notes, which was important because they were off and overlapping and, you know, wrong notes that he played. So after that, he's like, oh, I like it, let's keep rolling it. And then when we did the vocals with Chinky, it was just me and her in the studio. We kind of kicked everybody out.
You taught me how to survive the concrete. For how long was it time to take? Forever you were part of me. Why'd you have to raise me this way? I'm surprised we alive today. For how long were mine to say? Forever you were part of me. Why'd you have to raise me this way? I'm loved out to this day. For how long only time to say? Forever you were part of me.
There's usually, you know, the hood came to see us. There's usually murder music was like at least 20 people, 20, 30 people.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, we had that album was so popping that we had in the halls. We had, you know, Eve the rapper. We had Busta Rhymes coming in all the time. Not coming in all the time. Like there's unreleased songs with Busta that then, you know, we didn't make it for the album, but then when we do a you know, anniversary, they'll be in there. You know, there's a lot of songs that. I mean, I produced a song for the Murder Music album that didn't make the album, but it's, you know, P, rest in peace, you know, to Prodigy, one of the greatest ever.
That's right.
Yeah, we, you know, we got together and we were going over some of that music that was never released. And we came across the song that I produced, and he was like, oh, that's definitely going to make the anniversary issue. All that shit is fire.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah, we were talking about it. When he got on the track, he thought it was a Havoc produced track. And I was like, wow, really? And it was incredible. Yeah. And actually, I got a little story about that track.
All right.
Because I had 102.7 degree fever.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? I don't want nobody recording Mobb Deep. I'm going in there. This is the struggle. You know, blood, sweat, and tears. Let me go to the studio. Went to the studio, and I'm smoking weed. You know, Havoc is late.
Right.
So I'm making a beat. I'm making beats, you know, so I'm making a beat. Havoc comes in 2 hours later, and he's like, oh, what's that? I was like, oh, no, there's something I worked on, and I hit stop. He's like, no, keep it going, keep it going. I turn around, and he's writing. I said, shit, this is a legendary, this is a legendary artist, producer. He's writing for my shit.
Right.
I was like, oh. And then he's like, yo, let's track it, Mr. Producer. I remember exactly what he said. He was like, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And, you know, I sold the track to Mobb Deep, and it was like, that's the first placement, 1998-9 or something like that. Wow. And that's the first placement I had.
That's what's up. That's an irreplaceable feeling right there.
Wow.
I know it felt good to you. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah,
so and also, on another note, as far as anniversaries, you just had a Nas anniversary a few months back, right?
Right, that's, It Was Written was the album,
okay.
And Street Dreams is one of the records that I did. I did 4 records on that album. Everybody's looking for something. Street dreams are made of these. Shorties on their knees, but niggas with big G's. Who am I to disagree? Everybody's looking for something. And Nas is actually the second big artist I recorded after Jodeci, you know.
Okay.
And, you know, actually to go back, you asked me before, when I was recording Jodeci, my colleagues were recording Wu-Tang, they were recording Biggie, They were recording Busta, you know, in that, like, soundtrack was, you know, the golden era of hip-hop. It was the spot.
That's why I asked you who else was there at the time, because, that was the spot, so.
You know, Heavy D, I mean, we had everybody, like, coming in at one time.
Right.
So when I was recording Jodeci and Diddy was coming in, you know, Biggie was around, but I didn't even know it was Biggie. Like, we were just recording everybody. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was a golden time in hip-hop, man, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, I'm gonna bounce around a little bit because there's so many things I want to talk about with you, but also talk about when you got connected with Gwen McCrae.
Gwen, actually, we put out a single, actually through my company, Plaintruth Entertainment, which is a super, super blessing because she's, you know, only like a legend. You know, she's definitely kind of, you know, R&B,
for my listeners
neo
who don't know
soul.
what I'm talking about, Gwen McCrae brought y'all Funky Sensation back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I asked about it, because she's legendary. And you know, then I heard that you had signed her, you know what I'm saying, and got that single deal with her. And I just was wondering, you know, because that was a good look, you know.
That was amazing. And then when I started researching all the stuff, it's, I mean, there's probably like 200-300 artists that sampled her music.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
You know,
from way back
including at least 2 songs that have sampled that I worked on and sampled, and I didn't know it was her. Like, you know, he's sampling records and stuff like that. I'm like, damn, listen to this shit.
Yeah. That's crazy. Now, also, I'm jumping around, but you had a writing and production credit on a Tyler Perry movie too, right?
Man, yeah. That's another blessing that, you know, I mean, that goes beyond words. I mean, me and my man, Christopher Terrell, we wrote the song. We wrote the whole song, me and him. It was just me and him. We did everything, and he's a really good singer himself. And it was just, you know, kind of like in the vault, you know, in the library. And then Herb Hagwood wanted a song, and you know, I met up with him, and I mean, the rest is history, man. He took the song, he loved the song. Tyler Perry loved the song, and he took it to, you know, Anthony Hamilton. And then once they started banging that out, they were like, oh, let's make a remix, another version. And Jaheim and Music Soul Child got on it, and Tamika Scott helped out. So it was a big, you know, I wrote the song. I didn't fully produce it because other people got on it, and I was like, you know what, it's Tyler Perry. You know, I still got my publishing. You know, some people got a little bit of. Yeah, we got big checks, man. We got, you know, this is Tyler Perry movie, and you know, they used it. You know, Tyler Perry used it as the lead single of the soundtrack, and only lead single. That was the only one. You know, so we got like 5 checks because it was like synchronization license for the movie. And to all the artists listening, man, there's a lot of venues that you can make money.
That's right.
You know, B movies, A movies. So we got the synchronization license. Then when the soundtrack came out, we got the mechanical royalties. Then when it was on, you know, in the movie theaters, then when it was on cable, we got money from cable. Then the song was on the radio, we got money from ASCAP. And now on the internet, you know, besides cable, we're getting money from that. So it's like every year I'm still not huge. I'm getting, checks.
Yeah.
So, we're blessed. And, the soundtrack, it's such a great feeling because the soundtrack, it had R. Kelly on it. I mean, it had it has R. Kelly on it.
Right.
Whitney Houston.
Right.
It has Beyonce, Brian McKnight, and they picked the house single. So I'm like, wow, But it comes 360 around because, it comes from when I used to play in bands. So it's not just, I'm a musician, producer before engineer.
Right.
Even though 75% now I do mixing, recording, mixing, and mastering.
Right.
I love it all. I love the music. I mean, I have 2 engineers that work for me to record, and then I'll mix, certain things. So I'm definitely blessed about. I'm glad you asked about the Tyler Perry record.
No doubt. Like I said, man, I know when you get it cracking, because I'm gonna tell you like this, man. I got my tops, and I got, like I said, Skeff Anselm. I got my man Tony Darcy, you know what I'm saying? I got my man Eddie Sanchos, and I got you, Steve Sola.
There you go.
Y'all niggas is the, you know what I'm saying? Y'all the truth when it comes to that sonic. You know what I'm saying? Them sonics is y'all get busy with that, and a lot of people they just don't realize. You know what I'm saying? And I guess people that's outside of the music business or outside of creating music, they don't even realize that there's an engineer that does, you know what I'm saying? They don't think about that, you know what I'm saying? And I get that because they're not into it. But for me and for the other music geeks, producers and all, y'all the superheroes to us, man. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been reading them labels since we was babies. You see what I'm saying? We've been reading them labels and getting familiar with who does this, because that's how you sit back and plan. Yo, when I drop my album, I'm gonna get such and such to mix this joint. So that's the conversation. So, like I said, man, just big ups to you, enough respect, because you definitely paid your dues. And then what I want to say to you too is you still doing your thing. Like, you got the joint, is maybe last year, I think, that QB Rap P, that radio joint.
Yeah.
That shit is hot. You know what I'm saying? That shit is hot. Did you play the bass on that or what?
Yeah, I did. I did the whole. Yes, I did. I did the whole track. Yeah, produced the whole track. Yeah. Rap P. I love that track. Yeah.
Turn up the radio. I finally found my way. Everybody's riding my way. I can hear the people say, turn up the radio.
My new single popping. Everybody wanna know when the album dropping. Hottest thing on the streets, everybody locked in. It's been a long road, many lost souls. Try to stop the evolution, the Lord knows. I'm so gracious, I'm so patient. It's all time and took it back to the basics. Now we out of this orbit like a spaceship. They on that Molly, got 'em moving like the Matrix. All I ever needed was some sour and some cognac.
Ratchet, you know what I'm saying? See, I don't know how to pronounce the cat's name. His last name is Riley, though. Siad Riley or some shit like that.
Which one? Who's that?
It's kind of like a trap beat. I think it's called the Ratchet.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Now, and that's
yeah.
So let me ask you this, because how do you approach, this is on the production end, so how do you approach doing let's say coming from doing a Mobb Deep track, you know what I'm saying, or something like that, to going to doing a trap joint? What's the different approach?
It's music. I always try to be a little different, but at the same time, it's like, it's the same elements. You got, the 808, the snares, it's basically music, and I think the most important thing is rhythm.
Right.
Playing in the bands, I've always had good rhythm. I mean, sometimes I don't rap, but sometimes I'll tell a rapper, well, you're a little off right there. I was like, count your syllables. There might be too many syllables or not enough.
Right.
So it's about rhythm, whether you're rapping or playing music or playing the guitar. Right. Sometimes I'll hear a beat, it's not that hot, because you know, the drums are a little off. So if you got good drums, that's the rhythm, that's hip hop, that's music, you know, that's the backbone. And you mentioned bass, so if you got that popping, you could rap over drums and bass.
That's right. That's right.
You know, and it's got, you know, it'll make the strippers dance if you got that bottom and, you know, that rhythm going.
Yeah.
It works. Everything else is just extra, which, I mean, you know, I love. I mean, I did some stuff for Infamous Mobb that's got so many cool instruments and strings and pianos on top of it, but those drums are basically, specifically a track called Heart of the Streets. I love that track. Shout out to Infamous Mobb. It's like I use Dr. Dre sounding drums,
right,
for a street sounding record, but it's got a lot of, like we were talking before, like orchestral, you know, element, violins, and that just adds like the mood, like instead of being,
that makes the track move along, gives that air to it. It gives it
that air, instead of being on the street in daytime, those strings make it sound like it's night, dark night, you know?
That's right.
Right.
So let me ask you this, when it comes to making beats too, like, what do you, and this is me asking from my producer's standpoint, like, what do you enjoy making better? Which style of music do you enjoy making better? And I ask that because I know, like with me, you know, sometimes if I'm making we'll just say some boom bap, you know, I can get all into it. If I'm making some trap, it's different. If I'm making dance music, there's a lot more elements and a lot more creativity involved and experimentation. So what do you enjoy more?
That's a really great question. And if you're making all those types of beats, you know, music that you said, you're blessed, because sometimes, you know, beat makers or producers, they get pigeonholed into a sound and they can't do anything else. So if we are blessed to do different stuff, I mean, my name is not really, it doesn't ring bells as a producer, you know, kind of as much as a mixer.
Right.
But I'm able to do a hard Mobb Deep track, you know, sample, bing bang, you know, boom bap, and then I'm able to do a Tyler Perry R&B track, stinging track, you know, and then a Gwen McRae dance track. You know, I'm doing like alternative rock with guitars. So I'm blessed to be able to switch it up. That's what makes it really cool.
Right. So that
is if I get
so that's why I'm saying though, when you're doing that, which ones do you enjoy more? Like, which one do you think brings more creativity out of you? Or is it just all the same?
Well, there was a time, there was a time where I did like 2 or 3 beats a night, and it was just like smoking a lot of weed and just doing a lot, you know, sampling and just doing a lot of like street records. So I was into that. I was totally into that, and R&B, like R&B and that. Now that I'm doing more, I switch it up. I mean, I like some EDM and some alternative, because I can put guitar riffs, I can put real instruments, I can put whatever I want. So the creativity is definitely, you know,
That's what I was asking.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I'm the same way. It's like I enjoy doing those. Like, so I never like to be pigeonholed, because I just love music, period. And so I'll try all kinds, but I really find it more when I can do more creative things and add more elements, and it just, you know, the more creative you can be, I think the more you enjoy doing that. Like you say, you enjoy everything, but sometimes you just want to be able to create a little more. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you something else you put me on to indirectly is the Omnisphere. You know what I'm saying? I watched your you know what I'm saying? You had a little breakdown on the joint, and I was like, yo, what the fuck? Let me grab that. Then I hollered at my man, Dr. Fingers. He already had it, and he hooked me up with that. But yeah, you put us in the game with that one, man. And so that's why what it is with you also, man, is like you stand the test of time. You see what I'm saying? That's the little foundation I was building by talking about you going from Mobb Deep to a trap beat or whatever, because you still stay relevant and you stay on top of what's going on today. And I think that just really come from your love of your craft and your love of music. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool.
You got right.
That's cool.
And not the money.
Right, not the
money, people out there. It's the love of music. That's what's gonna keep you staying. You can have the love of money and do a song. Yeah, you could have a little hit, but then what? You gotta love music.
Right, because
and then the money will come.
Right, because even with the engineering, with the studios, like, I know you come from a time like me. You come from the 2-inch tape era. You come from a time when niggas was spending, might spend 3 G's on the studio a day. You know what I'm saying? Or at minimum might spend 300. You had to get a 10-hour block or something like that. And now everybody and their mother got a so-called studio in their house. So computers put a lot of studios and mastering houses out of business. You know what I'm saying? So how do you stay afloat with that? You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't gonna lie, it hurts my heart to see, not you, but there's a few engineers, man, that I know that, like, these guys were, I'm not gonna call their names, but big name engineers that's worked on platinum, double, triple, quadruple platinum albums. And like now they're just mastering people's shit online for like $150. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So
if that.
So it's like,
right, even less, right?
It's crazy,
so, my heart goes out to them. To me too, because I'm making a lot less money than I was 10 years ago. And at that time too, man, it was easily $3,000 a day for a lockout.
Right.
The studio and the engineer, we were making all really good money, and the expenses were high. The studios and whatnot. But like you said, a lot of studios went out of business, and a lot of, engineers couldn't make that money. So luckily, I saw a vision. I said, let me get my own studio, because this way, they're paying me, the artists are paying me the same amount of money, but the studio is kind of like included. It's almost free.
Right.
So instead of paying $3,000 a day, now you can get it for $500 to $1,000 a day rather than that. We're talking about a lockout. Right now, this is a lockout, but, this is like 10 hours. So, but if you love music, you keep doing it regardless of how much you make it,
So let me ask you this, because also I know that you and Alchemist co-executive produced H.N.I.C. Part 2. Once again, R.I.P. to Prodigy. That brother was amazing, man. Like, he's definitely one of the top 5. You know what I'm saying? There's no doubt about that. I think a lot of people didn't realize it while he was with us. I think it dawned on a lot of people later. A lot of people knew, but I hear a lot of people that just realize it because they're going back through the catalog and really appreciating it now. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
How did that come about that you wound up being a co-executive producer on that?
10 years of proving the P that I'm going to tell them the truth. Oh, I like this. Oh, that one is okay. I love this track. I've never been a yes man, to P, and him seeing that, really was like, well, he's for the music. Me and P, are tight, and we were tight. I spent more time with Prodigy than I did, with my own family, literally.
Right.
So, I gave him a lot of ideas, like, just an example, when, I said, P, we should stamp Mobb Deep on the money, like on dollar bills, and just spend it before the album comes out. Just spend when people see it, Mobb Deep, spend, thousands of dollars like that. And then he's like, great idea. He ran with it, and he called the album Blood Money.
Ah.
So, right.
So that's where that came
and then
from.
Then 50 Cent, he took like $10,000 from the bank and actually started printing, stamping, all the interns at the studio stamping blood money on the dollar bills, and everybody was spending that money, you know?
Yeah,
so it was, it's definitely a great promotional tool. You know, stuff like that is, picking the right song. You know, me and P every night for like 2-3 hours talking about conspiracy theories and the pyramids, the Roman Empire days and the world and all kinds of shit. And then we started recording, you know, so we would pick our brains out for hours.
That's what I was going to ask you too. Like, how involved were you in that last joint?
With I was involved in the H.N.I.C. 2, and then H.N.I.C. 3. It was executive produced by me and Prodigy. So the third one was the same way. Like, we were picking, songs together, making sure things were right, you know.
What I'm talking about, the dialect joint, the last one.
I was. Right, I wasn't involved because
Okay.
Right, I wasn't. Yeah, he started doing it with Joe. Shout out to Joe, the engineer.
Okay.
He was working heavily with him.
Okay.
I was so busy, like, producing my own artists and doing so much at my studio.
I knew about the, like you said, about the conversations, the deep conversations on the conspiracy theories and stuff like that. So that's why it seemed like all of that really came to the forefront on that dialect joint. So that's why I was wondering if, you was a part of that with them, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like those conversations, they've been coming to, fruition over the years, but that was like, it all came. I think at that point he was actually past the, I don't care what people think, this is what it is, you know what I'm saying? And he let it out. And that was all good. I was glad to hear that, you know what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of times as artists or as people, and he said it in the interview that he just didn't want to lose his core fans, but them thinking that, what the fuck is he talking about, But I think a lot of times what we don't realize as artists, man, if we thinking it, is a million other people or more thinking it too. Sometimes they just need the artist to be in the forefront to say what they're feeling, so then they can be like, yeah, that's how I feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and, for real, yeah. And he was always, he was always, with the Illuminati, he was always in the forefront of that. I mean, we have an Illuminati song on the H.N.I.C. 2. With a video, talking about one world order.
My mind, soul, and my body. Secret society, trying to keep their eye on me. But I'ma stay incognito in places they can't find me. Make my moves strategically. Illuminati rule my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society, trying to keep their eye on me. But I'ma stay incognito in places they can't find me.
Started putting a lot of, kind of like conspiracy and Illuminati stuff. And on the second album, second H.N.I.C. So, but like you said, people really finding out now, they're going back. But people like me, you, and including like Jay-Z, I'm going to shout out Jay-Z because there was an interview that he was saying that P, at one time, might have been the best rapper alive.
That's right, I heard
he
that.
He said in the late 90s, he might have been close to being the best rapper. Obviously, he's saying it a certain way where he's like, oh, I'm the best rapper. He's like close to being the best, so he's like as good as him or whatever.
That's right.
I think they're great. I think Prodigy at one time was, one of the best rappers in the game. I don't know about ever, but I mean, in the game, at one point, he was up there. He was close to being the best rapper. For a period of time, he was close to being the best rapper in the game.
Yeah. in the mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
His appearances were crazy. The I Shot You appearances and all that different shit was.
Kendrick Lamar. I mean, his influences are 3 from the West Coast. You know, Dr. Dre, Snoop, Tupac, and then Mobb Deep. I'm like, damn.
Right.
So I was reading up an interview, and he was saying that when he was growing up, he was listening to Prodigy's work.
Right.
You know, me and P, I mean, we did that album, the first album, pretty much on our own. H.N.I.C. 1, he used to call himself the young H.N.I.C., Kendrick Lamar.
Right.
And his first mixtape, you know, the young H.N.I.C. I was like, damn, he was listening to our shit like attentively, man. So, you know.
As was we all, man. You know what I'm saying? As was we all, man.
And then, you know, shout out to I Stand the producers, because they had an interview on me on their website, and I also judged a couple of their shows. He called me the H.N.I.C, and I said, "What's that?" He's like, "Do you mind?" He's like, "Do you mind?" I was like, "What is?" He's like, "Head mixer in charge." I was like, "That's dope."
That is dope.
Thank you.
Dope. That's real dope,
yeah. So I was like,
you've been blessed, man, to live a magical life that you're still living. You know what I'm saying? And let me ask you though, what, like, give me some of your give me a standout story. It doesn't matter what artist. Like, what comes to your mind, you know, during your career, during working with all these artists? What, give me, I want two. I want a good story, and I want maybe something that wasn't so good. You know what I'm saying? But give me something that stands out to you, you know, a good time that you had in the studio or in personal life with one of these artists you're dealing with.
Well, you know, two good stories. As an engineer, I'll be quick. As an engineer, when Plaintruth did a song for the QB Finest album, production, we produced a track for Infamous Mobb, and it got on the Nas QB Finest album. Right. I went to the Hit Factory to deliver the track to Nas, and I couldn't work with Nas. I was like, no, I got to do the H.N.I.C. one. You know, the first one I got to work with P. I was so busy, so I couldn't keep working with Nas. I was like, I wish I could do both, but I couldn't. So I delivered the track, and he introduced me, and he had a really good engineer. You know, it was the Hit Factory. So he's like, oh, this is the best engineer in the game, Steve Sola. And I was like, wow. So that's how he introduced me. Right. You know, shout out to Nas, forever in my heart, you know. Yeah, another story is, as an engineer too, we were recording 50 Cent. This is before he got signed to Eminem. And Mobb, you know, me and the Mobb and Jonathan Lighty, we really liked him. He was the street, you know, mixtape king.
Shout out Jonathan Lighty too, man.
Jonathan, yeah, man. We blood, sweat, and tears together, man. We literally, after everybody left, it was me and him, you know, working on stuff.
No doubt.
Yeah, so he comes in, and we were doing 2 songs with the Mobb, and this. Now, 50 is not signed. He's got no record label. People felt that he was great, put him on a track. So I said to 50, you know, he had his G Unit with him and Sha Money. Shout out to Sha Money, of course.
Shout out Sha Money.
I was like, yeah, man, he's my man right there, man. Visionary, legendary, great producer, A&R, great person. I mean, all around, man. And I've been in touch with him lately. I've been doing some, excuse me. Yeah, I've been doing some mixes for him, and he did some stuff for the QB United album that he produced. Some really hot beats that he did. But 50, you know, I said, 50, you know, your vocals don't sound so good, you know.
Right.
And he's like, well, why? I was like, they don't sound good. I was like, you know, if you ever want to do them again, you know, we could do them. And he was early, like Mobb Deep was always late.
Yeah.
So he's like, when you want me to do them? I was like, whatever. He's like, I'll do it right now. I was like, okay. He jumped in the booth, And I'm telling you, no paper. He knew all the words. I'm also driving like 50 miles an hour. So he was like, oh, I'll do it right now. He jumped in the booth and he did his verse, banged it out, doubles, ad-libs. He did the hook, you know, double, triple, quadruple, whatever needed to be done. Right. He did the whole song. I mean, it couldn't have been more than
in about 30 minutes.
Knocked it out. Less than that. It sounded like it was like 3 hours. It sounded like, you know, if you hear the record, it's like, you know, the record is called Clap Those Things.
Okay.
And then he did another record with us, you know, Bump That. And shortly after that, Eminem signed him.
That's what's up.
He's like, oh shit, he's doing songs at Mobb.
Let's scoop him up.
Let me scoop him up. I'm sure it had a lot to do. You know, I mean, 50 was great, but you know. Yeah.
So instead of like I said, I wanted to another story, but what I guess let's ask, what was some of the wildest shit you seen being in the studio?
Well, coming around the corner from the studio to the hall, and they were like, oh, we got something for you. We got a present for you. Turn around. And there was naked girl spread ready for me.
That was your present.
You said wild. Wild.
That's wild. Yeah, I was in there wilding out.
But, you know, I mean, naked doggy style. I'm like, damn, like ready.
Sola.
Right, ready.
So let me ask you this. Something I usually ask, you know, most engineers, man. How do you gauge your sound? Like, I know when you're in your own studio, after a while, you got your, you know, your room. You know what I'm saying? But do you have a specific ritual that you gauge on? Is it a specific pair of speakers you use? Do you check it in your car? Do you just take it to the club? Like, what's your thing with that? Gauging your
exactly.
mix?
Yeah. Tell them you have to take an average. You know, one guy was like, oh, it doesn't sound bassy enough. I'm like, well, what are you listening to? It's got a lot of bass. On my computer. I was like, on your computer? Like, put some headphones on. Like, well, your computer has no bass speakers. You know?
Yeah.
So you have to take an average. You're not going to hear bass on your computer speakers.
Right.
So you should play it on your iPhone, your computer, your headphones, your car, in the club, in the speakers, different speakers. Definitely one with a sub, so you could hear how the low end sounds. You can't just mix with little speakers the whole time. You got to check, you know, different parts of your room sound different.
Right.
You know, you have to. It has to sound good on all systems, and you know, take a mental average of, oh, well, it sounds right here, but it sounds bassy here. You know, obviously I know my studio now.
Yeah.
I've been in the same location for 8 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've mixed a lot of records there, so I mean, I know.
Yeah, that's what
you know, I know what it sounds like. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Like
Yeah.
I said, man, I appreciate, first of all, man, shout out how everybody could get at you, man, your social media and all that, you know what I'm saying? Or anything you want to tell the people, man.
Yeah, man, shout out to everybody that is listening, that will listen, that's following us on social media. I mean, you can find me, you know, everywhere, Steve Sola, just Google my name, or my website is themixking.com, TheKing.com. You know, just Google that, or Plaintruth Entertainment, you know, and holla, you know, whatever. If you heard something that we weren't clear about, or you want to ask us something, you want to come to New York City and record with me, just, you know, give us a shout out. as a matter of fact, I have a 4 p.m. starting session going in again.
No doubt.
So yeah, I'm looking for parking right now.
Oh, we're gonna let you ride, man, and go get that bag, man.
Yeah, man. Make more music, you know. I'm here all day, you know, all night, man, working hard, you know. I love it.
No doubt. So look, man, I appreciate your time, man. And I'll be in touch, man. And you know what I'm saying? Live life lucid, man. Be easy. You're a legend. We appreciate you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you too, and you're welcome, and thank you, and love to you and your listeners, man.
No doubt. Peace, Steve.
Peace.
Yo, listeners, as always, I hope y'all, you know what I'm saying, enjoyed that episode. My man Steve Sola, you know what I'm saying? He definitely has brought us and continues to bring us good music. You know what I'm saying? The interview speaks for itself. The man's worked with just about everybody you can name in the industry. You know what I'm saying? Yo, don't forget too, man, we on our Instagram. Go and hit us up at different_perspective_podcast. You know what I'm saying? Go over there and, you know what I'm saying, follow us on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Support us, man. Download. I can't stress that enough. And comment. You know what I'm saying? Hit me up at shotgunbeats@gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? That's shotgunbeats with a Z @gmail.com. Let me know you out there. You listening. You know what I'm saying? Hit us up on SoundCloud. You know what I'm saying? iTunes, Google Play, all that. Peace. Live life lucid.